Hello again, movie fans, DC Comics fans, physical media fans, everybody. I am back here to do another one of these um, movie collection videos. This time is for DC Comics movies that have had at least a theatrical release. Okay, with one exception because one is a made for TV movie that was intended as a pilot. Okay, for the DC Comics TV series, I'm going to do another video, but these are for the movies, okay? So let's get started. And also, accepting all of the Batman movies, because I've already done a video for that one, because those were a lot of movies. So I decided to put them all in a separate video so as not to make this video super long. Editing me here. Before we go on to the Superman movie starring Christopher Reeve, of course, I had almost forgotten the Superman serials from the 1940s and 50s, specifically 48 and 1950, starring Kirk Allen. Here we have both of them in this set. So the entire, both of the serials, which are the first one entitled simply Superman, and the second one is Atom Man versus Superman. All right, both of them starring Kirk Allen right there. Of course, they're in black and white, even though this cover has been colorized. There you go. Lots of great fun right there from the late 40s and 50s. And then there was the theatrical movie Superman and the Mole Men, which I was sure I had it, of course, but I couldn't find it. But then I remembered that that movie was edited into, well, it did get a theatrical release, but it was also edited into episodes of The Adventures of Superman, a TV series starring right there George Reeves. Okay, and those episodes are in season one entitled "The Unknown People." Okay, so Superman and the Mole Men is included, at least in form of episode, here in this season one of The Adventures of Superman. Now let's get started with the Superman films starring Christopher Reeve, which I have here in this DVD box set. All right, and this includes all four of the Christopher Reeve Superman movies: Superman 1, 2, 3, and Superman 4: The Quest for Peace. Okay, and I have them on DVD, though I do really want to upgrade these to a Blu-ray, even though these look pretty good. Okay, and you will see some of the titles here in Spanish because, like I say, I live in Mexico, and some of these I bought here in Mexico. So these are just each individual of boxes. All right, like this. Superman the movie, as it was called. Superman 2. And Superman 3, where it started to go downhill right there with making it a comedy with Richard Pryor. All right. But it still has its moments, Annette O'Toole as Lana Lang, she looks great. And also that scene where Superman gets split into two and we see him battle his evil self. And then to finish it off with the Superman 4, all right, which the only good thing you can say about this is that it has the beautiful Mariel Hemingway in it, okay, and she looks great. But as for the rest, and Christopher Reeve himself is always a fantastic Superman. All right, he looks great as well. But the plot of the movie, and some of the action scenes are just pretty damn corny. But anyway, I'm glad to have it in my collection. Superman 1 and 2 were both filmed at the same time, one back to back by Richard Donner. But when the theatrical version of Superman 2 was then directed, or rather taken over by another director, and so for a long time there was the Richard Donner cut was not available, but it is available now. Here I have this. This is the only one I have of the Christopher Reeve ones that I have on Blu-ray. This is Superman 2, the Richard Donner cut, which you would sometimes see back then on television. All right, when they would air Superman 2 on television, which it has some different scenes, some added scenes. All right. All right, Superman 2, the Richard Donner cut. Of course, this is the one where he goes up against the three evil Kryptonians, General Zod, Ursa, and Zod. We then jump ahead several years, okay, to Superman Returns, right there, and a well-intentioned film, but way too dependent on being a remake of the Christopher Reeve films. Even going so far as to cast an actor that kind of slightly resembles him, and again having Lex Luthor as the villain. That's one of the things that I criticized about the Christopher Reeve films, is that they never went past Lex Luthor. They never brought in. Well, they did bring in Zod, for Superman 2, but they never brought in Brainiac, which we have been waiting to see on the big screen forever. Superman Returns has its interesting moments, but it does seem a bit too like Superman the movie. And Brandon Routh does a decent Superman. We then jump ahead some other years for Man of Steel here, which I have both on DVD and Blu-ray. This is the DVD that I bought used, and I believe this is from a Blockbuster video that I bought it from there, back when Blockbuster used to still exist. Okay. Again, you will see the title in Spanish right there, El Hombre de Acero. A very good Superman movie. Here is my Blu-ray for it. And does it have? Yeah, that's the same image on the slipcase and the Blu-ray, and a very good Superman movie. At first, I was not too thrilled that it was going to again retell the origin, but they do it in a very interesting way with a new take on it, and it really fits the movie. And of course, you have a General Zod here as the villain, not Lex Luthor again. So I was happy about that. Man of Steel, right there, Henry Cavill being a fantastic Superman. He really understands the character, he respects the character, and knows how to portray him. After this, he again appeared in Batman vs. Superman, which when I showed this in my Batman movie video, I said that this should have been called Batman and Superman, because it would have been much more interesting to have them just team up from the get-go instead of having them fight, which doesn't really make sense. Okay, of course, the fantastic addition of Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, right there, who looks fantastic as Wonder Woman. All three of them really did a great job. Ben Affleck did a very good Batman, and Henry Cavill, great Superman, and Gal Gadot, a fantastic Wonder Woman. I do enjoy this one. It has a bit of its flaws, but I do enjoy it, a lot. He then came up again on Justice League, right there, with all of the rest of the DC heroes, where this is, of course, the theatrical version, which is pretty good. This one was taken over by Josh Whedon, I believe his name is, and after Zack Snyder had to leave the picture for personal reasons, okay, and so Josh Whedon took it over, reshot a lot of the scenes, and pretty much made a whole different movie, much more compact movie, which is entertaining. I do like it. This is the Justice League theatrical version, and I think everybody here does a great job. Ezra Miller, I never really got as Flash, and I was kind of proven right, as the years went by, as we know that his reputation pretty much went down the drain. All right, and Jason Momoa does a very good Aquaman, though he is much more playing the Jason Momoa character instead of Aquaman, but still, I like it. This is the Zack Snyder cut, okay, also referred to as Zack Snyder's Justice League, right? Much darker in tone, much longer. This is a 4-hour movie. You know, a lot more of everything, a lot more of each of the individual heroes, a lot of scenes that we didn't see in the theatrical one, and a really enjoyable movie. I know it is very very long, but I don't think it overstays its welcome. Zack Snyder's Justice League. Now we go with Wonder Woman, though not Linda Carter, because I'm going to show that in another video where I show the TV series. Here I will show the TV pilot I was talking about in the beginning. We have the Kathy Lee Crosby Wonder Woman, okay, where she is a blonde. There she is. And where they deviate quite a bit from the comic book Wonder Woman here, though the character is from Paradise Island. She is highly athletic, you know, and has fighting skill, but it kind of echoes what was going on with Wonder Woman in the comic books, because in the comic books there was a part of her history where she had no powers, where they're trying to make her more of a secret agent, and she had a completely white suit. Okay, I'm gonna put an image of that Wonder Woman over here on the side. Okay, but this is an enjoyable movie, very very low budget. You know, it is a TV pilot, which never got off the ground. All right, and but I'm glad to have it in my collection. I only recently got this a few days ago, in fact, and I only recently watched it. Though I had seen a bootleg version, but they had a really bad quality. This one, it's a DVD, but it looks pretty good. Now for Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman here. And once again, we have the title in Spanish right there, Mujer Maravilla. But anyway, a very good movie. Probably one of the best of all of the DC movies. Okay? And it tells the origin, or rather the origin of how she came to be in man's world, you know, from a Paradise Island. The movie is set in, I believe it is World War One, okay, not World War Two, as we would sometimes see the original Wonder Woman. Okay, World War One, and I can't say enough good things about Gal Gadot. She just looks stunning. All right. I would have liked to have a much better villain, because the actor that was Ares, you know, that's a good villain, but that actor didn't really do it for me. Then for the sequel, which is Wonder Woman 84, and which I did see, I did not like it. I don't think anybody did. I think it was a completely wasted opportunity. Here I have my Blu-ray, which is still in the shrink wrap, which kind of tells you what I think about this movie. Okay, Wonder Woman versus Cheetah, but we only get Cheetah for like what, a minute or two in the entire film. All right, we get the return of Steve Trevor in a completely nonsensical way. We have the other villain who is, it is so forgettable that I forgot his name of what the other villain was. I'm going to put it down here, played by Pedro Pascal. All right. Saving grace here is Gal Gadot herself. Of course, she can do no wrong. She looks great in the gold suit, in the traditional suit. So there's some pretty good. There's a couple of decent action scenes here. All right. So it does have its moments, but in general, I mean, just a total wasted opportunity. Now we go with the other heroes of the DC Comics universe, starting with Shazam, though to me he will always be Captain Marvel. All right, I think this does capture the spirit of the Captain Marvel comics. That lighthearted, a more humorous. I'm not going to say comedic, because this is not a comedy either. It has funny moments, but just a more of a lighthearted approach to the comic. You know, a more fun approach. Shazam. Zachary Levi does a great job as the character. You know, he really understands the character, knows how to play him. Aquaman. Here we have Jason Momoa. This is also a very good movie. I think it gives you all of the all of the beats that you want. Aquaman, Ocean Master, Mera, um, Black Manta. Okay, who all look fantastic uh, in their superhero outfits or supervillain outfits. Okay, an interesting plot. It keeps you engaged. Um, I did see all of these in the movie theater when they first came out, and I remember seeing this one, and it was just a great spectacle. Joker, bit of an odd film, because where does this fit in the DC universe? It's kind of exists in its own universe, as if it was an Elseworlds film. All right, because there is no Batman, even though there is a Bruce Wayne as a young man, not even a man, a kid who appears here. So how does that work? So you just have to take this movie for what it is. A Joker, Joaquin Phoenix, right there, doing an interesting interpretation of the character with a bit more nuance than one would expect from such a character. But he does give it plenty of life. Enjoyed this one. The Suicide Squad. Here, again, this is a movie that relies heavily on the charm of or the personalities of the characters. The we have Margot Robbie, who does a very very good Harley Quinn. I'll give her that. Okay, but the rest of the characters, I mean, they are all pretty much they're so generic. That's my problem with this. They are just so damn generic. And Jared Leto right there as the Joker, like what? I don't know what character he was playing. You know, but like I said, this is so much more could have been done with these characters. All right, there are some good moments, I have to say, but in general, Katana, that she's totally underused in the movie, and besides the Harley Quinn, I think she's the most interesting one. Okay, but here I liked it, but I didn't. It just kind of left me wanting. Green Lantern, a legendarily bad, and it is deserving of that reputation for the most part. Okay, the whole CGI suit for Green Lantern, and the way that he's kind of bumbling along at first, trying to control the power ring and all that, kind of contrary to what the character is, because in the comic books, the ring chooses him precisely because of his strength of will and resolve, and here we have Ryan Reynolds being Ryan Reynolds. He's one of those actors that kind of plays himself in every movie, and here is a prime example of that. And also, the thing that I hate the most, when you have the main villain be completely CGI generated, right? I hate that. Should have been just Green Lantern versus Sinestro and leave it at that. The fact that I have this one on DVD only kind of tells you something. The odd man out here in the DC movies with a very interesting character that I like a lot in the comic books, though here they missed the mark. It is Jonah Hex. I think Josh Brolin, the son of James Brolin. Josh Brolin does a very good job as Hex, but they added this whole supernatural angle to it, which was completely unnecessary. They should have just made this a straight ahead Western. Okay, and yes, and Megan Fox looks fantastic in the movie. I'll give her that, and I'm glad she's in the movie also. But why? Why was the completely unnecessary supernatural angle right there? It was not necessary. Just make this a Western. Weird Western tales. Jonah Hex. Well, even odder than Jonah Hex, and we have Catwoman right here. Halle Berry as Catwoman, but as what Catwoman, we don't know. This is again kind of an Elseworlds story where we have a Catwoman that is not even Selena Kyle, okay, and she doesn't live in Gotham, and there's no mention of Batman anywhere, and her costume is like that, and Sharon Stone is the villain, a villain that we've never heard of in the comics. So you just have to take this movie for all the cheesiness that it is. Okay, Catwoman. Last but not least, well, kind of least compared to some of the really good movies that we saw, we have a Swamp Thing. This is the movie that came out in the 80s. Okay, there were two of them. I only have the first one. Swamp Thing right there with Dick Durock as Swamp Thing and Adrienne Barbeau as Agent Cable. Here we go. A pretty good adaptation, a very good villain right there by Louis Jourdan. I have it on here in this 3-pack with Lake Placid and Silent Venom. Okay. And I remember when this, I did see this one in the movie theater when it first came out. Yes, I'm that old. Okay. Though I was a teenager back then. All right. And I remember really, really enjoying it. Okay. And I still enjoy it. I think it's pretty good. All right. And I believe those are all of my DC Comics movies, live action adaptations, because of course I have a whole bunch of others that are the DC movies animated. I'm going to make a separate video for all of those. All right. But for now, thank you very much for watching, and so long.